Have you ever been fined for something so ridiculous it almost felt like a joke? Imagine opening your mailbox and finding a letter that says you owe $500. Not once, but every single day until you comply. That's exactly what happened to me, Daniel Carter, when my HOA president decided my truck in my own driveway was an eyesore. Can you believe that? A truck I used for work, parked neatly, wasn't hurting anyone, and suddenly it was costing me hundreds of dollars a day. When I first read that letter, my jaw dropped. It felt like extortion, plain and simple. And here's the kicker. The fines started stacking before I even had a chance to respond. Tell me, what would you do if your HOA pulled something like this? Drop it in the comments because I know I'm not the only one dealing with a power-drunk HOA president. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. I'd been in this neighborhood for 3 years and never once had a problem with the HOA. I mowed my lawn, kept my property neat, paid my dues on time, and minded my own business. But then came Linda, the new HOA president. She was known for being strict, but I figured if I followed the rules, she'd leave me alone. Wrong. She claimed my truck was lowering property values and said it had to go. But here's the crazy part. Dozens of other neighbors parked SUVs, vans, even trailers in their driveways. None of them got fined. Just me. That's when I realized. It wasn't about the truck. It was about me. Linda had chosen me as her target, and she wasn't letting up. The letters kept coming. Every morning, another envelope shoved into my mailbox with violation in bold letters across the top. Each one adding $500 to my balance due. Within 2 weeks, Linda claimed I owed the HOA nearly $7,000. $7,000 for parking my own truck in my own driveway. I tried reasoning with her, knocking on her door, even calling her, but she brushed me off with a smug smile. Rules are rules, she'd say. But the more I looked around, the more I realized she wasn't enforcing those rules on anyone else. It was personal, and nothing made my blood boil more than feeling powerless in my own home. That was the moment I decided. I wasn't going to just pay up and shut up. I was going to fight back. Instead of reacting with anger, I got smart. I started attending HOA meetings, sitting quietly in the back, taking notes. I read through every page of our bylaws, and what I found shocked me. Linda, the woman fining me for imaginary violations, was breaking half the rules herself. She had converted her garage into a makeshift bar, complete with neon signs and late-night parties that disturbed neighbors. Her backyard fence was built without approval and stood taller than the maximum height allowed. And the cherry on top? She hadn't paid her HOA dues in over 6 months. That's right. The president herself was delinquent while threatening me with liens and legal action. The hypocrisy made my blood boil, but it also gave me exactly what I needed. Leverage. Armed with photos, meeting notes, and copies of HOA financial records, I built my case. I wasn't just going to expose Linda. I was going to humiliate her the same way she tried to humiliate me. I reached out to neighbors quietly, showing them proof of her violations. At first, some didn't want to get involved. They were scared of her retaliation. But once they saw the documents, the tide started to turn. People began whispering, gossip spreading like wildfire. By the time the next HOA meeting rolled around, everyone in the neighborhood was ready for a showdown. And trust me, I had every intention of delivering. That evening, the meeting room was packed. Linda sat at the head of the table, smug as ever, probably expecting me to beg for mercy. Instead, I stood up and calmly laid out my evidence. Every violation, every unpaid fee, every late-night disturbance, all backed up with photos and documents. The room grew quieter with each word. Neighbors turned to look at Linda, and for the first time, I saw her confident smirk fade. She tried to interrupt me, shouting about irrelevance and personal attacks, but it was too late. The truth was out, and there was no stopping it. I ended my speech with one line. If these rules apply to me, then they apply to her too. The applause that followed said it all. The fallout was brutal. Within a week, Linda was stripped of her position as HOA president. The board demanded she pay thousands in back dues and fines for her own violations. The very neighbors she once bullied turned their backs on her, and suddenly, the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA was just another homeowner drowning in debt and embarrassment. As for me, the board dismissed all my fines and issued a written apology for the misunderstanding. Linda avoided me like the plague after that, and her late-night parties vanished overnight. I had turned the tables, and it felt better than I could have imagined. Looking back, I realized this was never just about the truck. It was about standing up for myself when someone in power tried to abuse their authority. Too many homeowners let their HOA presidents walk all over them out of fear. But here's the truth. If you know the rules, and you have the courage to fight back, even the most arrogant HOA bully can be taken down. So now I want to ask you, what do you think? Did Linda get what she deserved? Or should I have handled it differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more HOA stories that'll make your jaw drop.